Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Sizzling in Mississippi on We Believe Digital. So happy to have you joining us tonight. Chris Young, alongside my co-host, buddy Maati, Jone Primm. How are you, Miss Primm?
I'm doing great. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. It's always good to be alongside you and try and chop this stuff up and talk to the people about what's going on here at the We Believe Digital Studios. Last week we got the crazy weather came up.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, by the time the show was over, the weather had started to slip. Yeah.
Somehow we missed the brunt of it, which was a great thing, but it was supposed to hit us head on.
Went right around us.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah. So anyway, we're so glad you're joining us tonight. We've got a pretty thick schedule of things to talk to you about and where to start. Oh, who knows where to start? I was thinking about DeKeither stamps.
Yes.
2200. He won the Central District Public Service Commissioner position. First black man in Mississippi history to serve in that position.
Right.
Won it by 2,200 votes.
Right.
Story's not over.
No, it's not.
You can have a black man perform the first successful heart surgery in the United States of America, but you try to put a black man in the Public Service Commission in Central District of Mississippi.
Yeah.
We got to have examinations of the whole process.
Yes. Even though some people in Hinds County weren't allowed to vote.
Imagine that.
Yeah, because they supposedly ran out of ballots.
Supposedly, right. So just anyway, we wish Mr. Stamps, he's a House of Representatives member, has been a former Jackson City Council, combat Marine. It got a remarkable history.
Right.
A longtime family business owner here.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Just an all-around great guy. He's been here on the show before with us.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we wish him the best as the people on the other side of the aisle examine everything and make sure all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, and before he can be declared the winner. The Associated Press said he's the winner, but that's not good enough for certain folks.
Not quite. They weren't anticipating his victory, so.
I wonder, is there the same concern over in Rankin County, Maati? You know, that sheriff over there.
Yeah.
Brian Bailey.
Infamous, notorious.
What do you mean, infamous, notorious? What?
Well, when you have a goon squad and you unleash them on your citizens.
He did that.
He did that.
You think he knew about that?
Somehow I think he knew that he had a
Oh
goon
my
squad.
goodness. You mean the sheriff? Are you trying to tell everybody that the sheriff of Rankin County
Yes.
actually knows what's going on throughout his entire department?
Well, I think he knows that he has a goon squad. I think he knows that much. He may not know everything that's going on, but I think he knows that much.
You know, I'm just playing with you, but you know, it's just
because it's a tactical unit.
a tactical unit doesn't
Right.
get deployed without the top dogs knowing about it, right?
Right, because you have to be selected to be on that squad. So, yeah.
And like you said, even then they're not going to deploy without people knowing about
Yeah,
it.
without permission.
They don't just do it willy-nilly.
No, they don't.
And here he was reelected. He ran unopposed. So Rankin County, at least for now, unless we hear different from the Department of Justice, and I'm not sure how many counties in Mississippi are having their law enforcement investigated by the Department of Justice, but theirs is.
Yes.
And Lexington,
Okay.
the police department.
Yes.
Not the sheriff, but the
Right.
police
How
department.
about Taylorsville?
How about Taylorsville? Haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Well over a year.
Well over a year. Yeah, October of last year.
And Rasheem Carter's mother was at the Dexter Wade funeral a week ago today.
Yes.
But I was just looking up just before the show started. The Rankin County supposedly by population right now with 160,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Sounds right.
Okay. So out of 160,000 people, well, I guess that's the total population by the census. That's not the voting population.
Right.
But 30,000 people voted for Brian Bailey to win unopposed re-election
Right.
as the Rankin County Sheriff. And 5,000 write-ins happened. 5,000 write-ins.
Wow.
And then, you're not going to believe this one. You better sit down for this.
Okay.
6,300 undervotes, where it was not clear based on the markings on the ballot.
Yes.
So I guess those had to be thrown out.
Okay.
So they're not sure. But he still got 30,000 and nobody was running against him.
Right.
So he gets to remain in power. And still we've heard no elected officials still have spoken out against that horrific behavior on January 24th over there in Braxton, Mississippi.
Right, where they attempted to rape 2 young men by the Goon Squad. The Goon Squad attempted to, but was unable to really fulfill that vicious act.
Put 2 black men in a shower together to try to wipe off the residue, the evidence of the evil deeds, the waterboarding, the torturous behavior that they'd been doing to them. Imagine that, forcing 2 black men into a shower together. But that's Rankin County, and the Department of Justice is looking into the sheriffs, but they're not going to give us continuous loop feedback on how they're doing on that.
Right.
But I just, who knows?
Could be years before we find out.
It could be. It could be. Sooner or later, somebody's going to talk.
Yes.
And I wonder if those guilty pleas, and I've been told, Maati, by more than one very knowledgeable judges, past judges, that they never heard of such a thing as white law enforcement pleading guilty to anything in this state.
Right.
Never heard of it. Right. They're shaking their head.
Right. A lot of evidence against them.
And I wonder if there had to be any, so by pleading guilty, though, there's probably, or maybe it comes in the sentencing. Is there any way that there could be a canary in there that's chirping a little bit?
Well, it's really based on the plea bargain. They really felt, the defendants felt that they would probably lose in court, which is why they took the plea bargain. Yeah. Admitted guilt to a certain extent and have to pay the price for a lesser offense.
Right.
But they're willing to do that as opposed to going to court and fighting it out and perhaps losing and receiving a lot more time.
And we heard just about 2 weeks ago, we heard that the sentencing, they all 6 pleaded guilty, and the sentencing has now been postponed to sometime in the month of January is the last I heard on that.
Right.
It was supposed to happen
November.
Okay. And so that's been
early November, and they they delayed it.
So they say they needed more time to evaluate pre-sentencing reports, and they need to prepare their objections in advance, and so they've been granted this extra time. Michael Corey Jenkins, Eddie Terrell Parker, lives changed forever.
Right.
Just unbridled hatred and torture and abuse that they had to. It's really a wonder that they're still alive.
Right.
And Department of Justice looking into that, the Goon Squad.
Yes.
I see I had a typo up here. I called it the Good Squad. Jeez. and you know, and the sheriff Brian Bailey claims to know nothing about it. He called them bad actors. I mean, they had challenge coins in their pockets. They had special insignias on their special goon squad badges.
Yes.
And yet he didn't know nothing about what they were doing.
Right.
And
that's difficult to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's where we stand with Rankin County now, waiting for more information on that, waiting for that sentencing in January, waiting to hear back from the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division that last we heard is investigating the Rankin Sheriff's Department.
Mm-hmm.
And somewhere along the line, I thought I heard it could go deeper than that too, beyond the Sheriff's Department.
Well, it may. I mean, Rankin County is a very racist county. It's considered one of the most racist counties in all of Mississippi.
Long history.
Long history.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And so the next thing on the list for tonight, a week ago today, Dexter Wade received a proper homegoing funeral service up at the big church on the New Horizon International Church. Bishop Crudup officiated. Attorney Benjamin Crump was on hand, and the one and only Reverend Al Sharpton was on hand.
Right.
Tons of people up there. I mean, I won't say the church was totally packed, but it was it was pretty much so. I mean, I want to say several hundred people, no question about that. Mm-hmm. And an awful lot of family members came for that side.
Yes.
That they had reserved for the church. So much going on, and Maati, that Al Sharpton, he's just got a way.
Yeah.
He can cut through so much.
Right.
But he stood there and said, I've come today for two reasons. One, to deliver a message of comfort to the family.
Yes.
And two, to deliver a message of discomfort to the city, the police department, and the state of Mississippi.
Yes, yes.
And he went on to do just exactly that.
Yeah.
And it was quite a service. And Crump, Ben Crump definitely indicated that a federal he has asked for a federal investigation. Mm-hmm. So one thing that came out on that day, Maati, they had a little press conference in between the funeral service and going to the cemetery.
Okay. That
cemetery was something else, but David Archie, mm-hmm. the outgoing District 2 supervisor,
right? He
was there, and he said that the county can open an investigation to that.
Mm.
And of course, Attorney Sweet.
Yes.
And Attorney Sweet's son, Attorney Sweet, mm-hmm. and Ben Crump said, well, go ahead, by all means.
Right.
And it's the same thing with the city of Jackson. They're capable of having a more in-depth investigation.
Right. I'm trying to understand exactly where was Dexter Wade. Because they say sometimes I hear he was on Interstate 55.
Yeah.
Or near Interstate 55, or he was on the bridge that crosses over I-55. I'm trying to find out where it happened and what happened.
Yeah, I don't know the nearest cross. I'm not sure the precise location, but I have heard many times different sources crossing.
Yes.
Crossing 55.
Yes, and what does that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because to me, that's significant. If he was actually on the interstate, you could see how he could be hit.
Right.
However, if he's on the overpath, then that's a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the an autopsy was done, and lo and behold, the body had to be exhumed from the pauper's grave over at the Raymond
Yeah.
detention
Farm.
center.
Yeah.
And
It's actually a plantation that this jail sits on.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And they have a cemetery there. And so when they buried him with a number, not his name.
672.
Yes.
And so they finally got permission to exhume the body from this pauper's grave, and have a real live autopsy done. And one of the first things that came out of that was that he had a wallet in his pants pocket, and it had all his identification in there.
Right.
2 different forms of identification that had his mother's address.
Yes.
Yet the mother was never informed for months. The accident happened in March, I want to say March 5th,
Okay.
and the family wasn't notified till August.
Right.
He was already in the grave.
Yes. Yes.
Just bizarre.
Shocking. And then Attorney Ben Crump said that one of Dexter Wade's legs had been amputated.
They said that at that mini press conference last Monday, but I don't remember hearing anything more about that in terms of how that came about.
Right.
Or
was it the accident that did it, or
right,
something else?
or something else. I didn't hear anything on that. Haven't heard anything on that. And then when they did exhume the body to do the autopsy, and then prepare for a proper burial, they got the time screwed up on that. So they told the family they could come and observe.
Yes, the exhumation.
By the time they showed up, I want to say it was 11, maybe 11:30, the time they were told to be there.
Right.
By the time they showed up, it had already been accomplished.
Right. Which makes me think that wasn't a mix-up. I question whether they were simply trying to exhume the body before the family arrived so that they could tamper with the evidence. Yeah.
So, once again, it is possible for Hinds County to open up an investigation. It is possible for Jackson Police to open up a deeper investigation. The mayor, when he gave his State of the City talk, more or less began the talk speaking about this, offering condolences, and really described it as miscommunications.
Yes.
A lot of people doing that these days, saying miscommunication.
Right.
No solace for the family there.
No, none. Yeah.
Months and months and months.
Yes.
And then there was the other piece where Dexter Wade's mother's brother she had been going at it with the police over her brother's death.
Right, George Robinson, and it appeared that he had a wrongful death. He was beaten by police.
And so some people raised the question, was this behavior here some type of retribution for her pushing back on, when her brother was killed?
Right. And we just don't know.
We just don't know the answer to that. But what we do know is he received a proper, dignified funeral. Lots and lots of people, lots and lots of tears, all kinds of national news media on hand, as well as local media. And the same thing, too, out at the cemetery, which is a new cemetery off Cedarwood, off Highway 18, just over the hill at Maddox Road. You know how Maddox Road kind of on a bit of a hill?
Right.
Just over the hill and to the right is where Cedarwood is at. And I counted only 5 existing graves there So it's a brand new cemetery.
Okay.
The grounds are not finished at all.
Yes.
You're walking through mud to get to get there.
Yeah.
And so, but certainly it was a profound. And I took a lot of pictures. There's an article about it in the Mississippi Link newspaper. There was a real accomplished photographer, Bradley, was there, and spacing out on his first Kevin Bradley. I'm sorry, Kevin, and a really awesome photographer, and there may be 15 or 20 pictures from all that in the Mississippi Link newspaper, which you can always access at themississippiLink.com. So yeah, onward we go. Rest in peace, Dexter Wade.
Absolutely.
And certainly hope that the family can get some resolution. I don't anticipate that Al Sharpton and Ben Crump are going to let go of this easy.
No, they're not. They're not. They shouldn't.
They called it a cover-up.
Yeah, and there's punishments that have to go out.
Right.
And for them, because they're not part of the state's attorney's office, it's going to be a civil case. And they'll sue for millions of dollars. And I'm sure that they will be awarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All righty, well, that's the end of our first segment. We blew way past the timer on that, and so we'll come back with you after a couple short commercials.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
And welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. Glad you're joining us tonight. Want to not forget a shout out to our producer, Chelsea. We had got started a little late tonight. I had a few little technical glitches to work out. I think she might have left that door unlocked, and we had a gremlin get in there and flip some of those wrong switches. But she got them reflipped in the right place, and we're back at it now. Maati, this sentencing project, boy, they are so thorough, and they did a story called Locked Out 2022, Estimates of People Denied Voting Rights. And this is across the United States.
Yes.
But boy, oh boy, Mississippi's going to come into the picture.
Yes.
But if people could guess for just a second, how many people would you guess are felons that have that are being disenfranchised? Now, in many cases, the vast majority of the cases, these people have already served their time, they're released, but they have not had their voting rights restored. What would you guess in the state of America, in the country, across the country? How many would you guess? Well, these people tell us it's 4.6 million people are barred from voting due to a felony conviction.
That's exceptional.
Crazy stuff. Crazy. 2% overall. We got 331 million. So
Right.
roughly 2% of the population gets iced out.
Right.
So the old adage about, you do the crime, you do the time, and that's it. It's not it.
No, it isn't.
So you keep, unless you have the right to vote, you haven't. Your full rights of citizenship have not been returned.
Right. No, there's no restoration. It's punitive, and it's also something that I think Republicans, if they would care to admit, it's to their advantage.
If they care to admit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because most of these persons would vote democratically. So.
It says 3 out of 4 of the disenfranchised, 3 out of 4 of those 4.6 million are living in their communities.
Yeah.
Having 3 out of 4, 75%, having fully completed their sentences or remaining supervised while on probation or parole.
Right.
Take a wild guess what the worst 4 states are. You'd never guess, but I'll give you a hint to get you started on the list. Florida is the 4th highest list. 4th highest on the list. 8% of those folks are not allowed to vote in Florida. 8%. And the next 2 states on the list are neighbors, Tennessee and Alabama.
Right.
And sure enough, at 11%, the state of Mississippi, the highest rate of disenfranchisement in the entire country.
Yeah, that's incredible. It's incredible. But we see a supermajority Republican House, a supermajority everything.
And
for the
Maati,
Republicans.
we had it couldn't have been 2 months ago. A panel in the Fifth Circuit said to not all, but let's say the list of about 13 felonies maybe.
Right.
The bad.
Right.
Well, they said no, they should be. This panel, 3-person panel, said no, the rights should be restored, except for these 3 crimes right here.
Okay.
But even still, that was going to be progress.
Right. It would be.
And then the Mississippi Attorney General jumped in.
Yeah.
And she said, actually, we don't agree with that at all, and we think there ought to be a review by the full Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. So that's now, on the docket, which you never know how long that's going to end up being.
Okay.
And so all it took was the state's Attorney General to say, we don't think that's a good decision. Right. Therefore, we ask for a review by the full court.
Right.
That's power.
Yes, it is.
That's power right there.
Yeah.
The report goes on to say 1 in 19 African Americans of voting age are disenfranchised. 1 in 19 African American, a rate 3.5 times higher than non-African Americans. Among the adult African American population, 5.3% is disenfranchised compared to 1.5% of the adult non-African American population. 5.3% compared to 1.5%. So if we don't think there's discrimination, if we don't think that, with the incarceration rates that we've talked about, essentially the biggest incarcerator in the world here in Mississippi, neck and neck with Louisiana, but still, and 60%, 62%, something like that, are African Americans.
Yeah.
And yet, the African American population, well, conservative estimate, 38%.
Yeah, undercounted.
But 60+% of the
which
people incarcerated.
Yeah. Which is one of the acts that's used to suppress and oppress Black people in Mississippi. The high incarceration rates, the overabundance in sentencing, and the treatment, the state of the prisons in Mississippi, the lack of educational programs for the masses of those incarcerated. All these things come into play, and they're all racist.
Yeah, and so and these numbers here, these numbers are part of nationwide numbers.
Yes.
It says more than 1 in 10 African American adults is disenfranchised in when you combine the 8 states of Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi, South Dakota, Tennessee, and Virginia. When you combine those in those 8 states, more than 1 in 10 African American adults is disenfranchised.
Yes.
Onward we go, sizzling in Mississippi.
Still sizzling.
Still sizzling. And Maati, we got one left on the list, and it's the Voting Rights Act. And maybe we'll be able to knock it out in this segment here and wrap up. But just last week, I don't have. Let's see. I don't have a. No, I'm sorry. November 20 per National Public Radio on November 20th, a 3-judge panel. We were just talking about 3-judge panel here in the 5th Circuit, but in the 8th Circuit. Now, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals covers Arkansas, Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota.
Okay.
A 3-judge panel struck down a key path for enforcing the Voting Rights Act. It was a 2-to-1 vote. And what they were after in this case, because they've never stopped being after the Voting Rights Act.
Right.
They always go after.
Yeah, always.
Never cease. So, but per what this amounts to is limiting protections for people of color by limiting challenges that can be made by a private individual or groups of individuals such as the NAACP.
Right.
And lots of other groups, I'm sure, that, the NAACP maybe been around the longest, but and these individuals or private groups, they don't represent the U.S. government, but for decades upon decades, they're the ones that have been bringing forth these challenges under what they call these Section 2 cases.
Okay.
Where they're saying that people of color are being disenfranchised.
Yes.
Gerrymandering, things of that nature.
They've done it terribly.
And we know for a fact that the NAACP is always on that all the time. Any state, not just Mississippi.
Right.
But yet now this panel has said 2-to-1 that they're striking down. So the NAACP no longer can offer a challenge and say, hey people, hey. Look at what they're doing over here in South Dakota. This is harming black people. It's removing the voice of people of color, or Nebraska, or wherever it happens to be in that circuit,
Right.
And so they can't raise a challenge anymore.
It's tough trying to navigate.
She says,
it's
as
just
the biggest understatement of the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, a lot of people outside of my community don't really understand all of the challenges that we have.
From every front.
Every front. Education, religion, law, labor, sex, politics, economics, all of these different things, whatever areas of human interaction. Black people everything is a struggle, and it's normally death by 1,000 cuts. It's the reason why black people don't live as long as white people. It's the reason why black people aren't as healthy as white people, because we suffer with the everyday racism. Relentless. And then on top of that, then we have the extraordinary racist acts. We have the Goon Squad in Rankin County. We have people like Dexter Wade who are victimized and murdered by police. And
They
we
put a
have-
white police chief in Jackson.
See,
Jackson already got a police chief.
right.
But they made up their mind they were going to put a white police chief
Right,
in Jackson
regardless of
to
yeah,
fix
what
the
we
crime,
thought.
right?
Right.
Isn't that
and
what they said?
That's what they said. And what has he done? No.
Zip.
It's proven to be
Multi-millions.
yeah, right.
But that's the Trojan horse that they
There you
marched
go.
right in the front door of the city.
Right.
It's just horrible. But it just
And
wrapped.
it's not safe. That's the
No.
thing. It's not safe. What is it like for you? Because you're around black people, but you're not black.
Yeah.
And so you have a rather unique position
Mm.
because do you feel safe?
I learned early on
Mm-hmm.
in coming here. Had a pretty good idea before I came, but then got a quick lesson when I got here.
Sure.
Watching a shooting in broad daylight one day at the corner of Fornication and West Street.
Fortification.
Fortification.
Yeah.
I slip up on that.
Okay.
God forgives. He knows my heart. He'll forgive me.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would answer the question by saying this. I have, what I hope is an appropriate degree of cautiousness. Certain times of day, certain areas, at certain venues. That's the way I would answer the question. Do I feel unsafe on a day in, day out basis? No. Are there times? Sure.
Okay.
But I feel like I've accepted that that's the way things are around here.
Now, I mean, and when I ask that question, I should ask it in terms of interaction with police or police powers. Do you feel any type of threat there?
No, I don't want to have any interactions with any of them.
Right, but if
I
you
don't
did,
trust them.
right, but
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that you would fare better than the average?
Well, there's no question.
Okay.
I mean, we know that already. We know
Right.
I would.
Okay.
But I remember.
I know, but a lot of people really don't think so.
Oh, they got to get that. They got to get that in their head.
Yeah.
Automatically, I'm going to do better.
Right.
Automatically.
Sure.
I remember though, and I think I irritated this white Rankin County, a Pearl guy, pulled me over. He thought that my seatbelt wasn't fastened. He could see that from his car, and and anyway, so when he finally came up beside my car, I pulled over. When he finally came up there, what he was met with was both my hands sitting out the window of my car.
Okay.
Both my hands. This is a white cop now.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be crystal clear because I know the way they are over there in Pearl.
Right.
I learned that.
Right.
I learned about the roadblocks. I learned about
A lot of them.
I learned about the oppression that goes on. So I want to send him a signal right there. Yeah, I'm white, but here's the way I'm approaching you.
Yeah.
Because they don't do business equitably. So as it turned out, my seatbelt was on by the time he got up to the car. Seatbelt was on by then, and after checking my license, he freed me up, let me go.
Okay.
So, but
When he approached the car, did he approach with his hand on his weapon?
oh yeah,
Okay.
I watched it in the rearview mirror, watched the
Right.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, Maati, I mean, it's just statistically, it's not even close.
Right. No, it's not.
So anyway, and I wanted to, I still can't get over this thing with this Capitol Police Chief. This is a black city.
Right.
We got a police department. We got a police chief. But these people made up their mind, these white people,
Yeah.
Republican white people. And the ones that wrote the statutes, they don't even live here.
Right.
But
Not even near here.
But they talk their little jive about it, and my daughter has to travel to Jackson, and shut up,
Yeah.
but they did it. So they put a white police chief in a black city, and he reports to two people. a white public safety commissioner, Sean Tyndall,
Right.
who I've seen out in public many, many times dining.
Okay.
Never see a person of color at that table. Anyway, that's just one little thing I've noticed. I like to watch things, Okay. And the governor. And, the governor wanted the Capitol Police to do something. Right. It'll happen.
Right. And the Jackson Police Department must subordinate.
In
itself.
certain instances, which that's just on paper, how long do you think it's going to be before the Jackson police chief is taking his orders from? I mean, it's just
right, exactly.
In certain instances, they're going to take precedence over our own police department and our own city.
Yeah, unprecedented.
I don't know how these. I think the mayor Jackson was right when he went over there to the Capitol building when they were debating this 1020.
Right.
And he says one thing's for sure. I don't see any white hoods today. They must be all home in the closet.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
Yeah.
And back to this thing in the 8th Circuit over there in Arkansas and Iowa and Minnesota, the Dakotas and so forth over there, lo and behold, the chief judge over there is a black man by the name of Levinsky R. Smith. And what did he do? He wrote the dissent. It was 2-1.
Yeah.
He was the one. And he wrote the dissent. And I've been told so many times, Chris, pay attention to the dissents.
Yes.
Here's what he said. They try to take away this pathway to challenge bad behavior.
Right.
And he said, until the Supreme Court rules or Congress amends the statute, I would follow the existing precedent that permits citizens to seek judicial remedy. Rights so foundational to self-government and citizenship should not depend solely on the discretion or availability of the government's agents for protection.
Yeah.
One person, one vote, one objection.
Yeah.
And I was just so proud to see that, and that's in the record, and you can't take that away. Now, is this thing going to wind up at the Supreme Court? I don't know. I would guess so, but I don't know for certain how that's going to work out. But it's not bad enough that you discriminate. Seemingly, these people would have, the way they behave. It's not bad enough that people are discriminated against. It's not bad enough that they're disenfranchised. It's not bad enough that they have to experience racism day in and day out. But when the very people that take it upon themselves to stick up for them, to try to achieve justice, get told, no, you can't do that no more.
Yeah.
After decades upon decades. It's just so wrong.
It is.
And nothing for me.
Yes.
Here's another way we're going to be different on this.
Okay.
But to my heart, ain't nothing American about that. But of course, from what you've seen in your life, you think, oh, it's very American.
Right, it is, which is why I don't claim myself as an American.
And when you say that, I know what you mean by that, and I think you know what I mean.
I live here.
Yeah.
I live in America. But I do not have the full rights of citizenship.
Yeah.
So how can I call myself an American unless I'm just fooling myself?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't.
Any closing thoughts?
It'll be nice when I can say I'm an African living in Africa.
Oh, you got a plan?
Oh, yes, always. Yeah.
I heard
Go back to my homeland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd love to visit.
Yeah, you can.
We can stay in touch?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us tonight. We got a great studio here at We Believe Digital. We'd love to hear from you. Find out about your podcast ideas, or maybe you want to do some advertising with us. Maybe you need some filmography, photography, photo shoots for a commercial to do some advertising. We Believe Digital can help you out with all that. And now we've got a radio side that's really opening up the lens for us. So Stay tuned to We Believe Digital. Subscribe, like us, share the link with your friends. Support us if you can, and we'll just keep at it. And we'll see you back next Monday night for Sizzling in Mississippi at 6:30 next Monday night. Take good care. Take care of yourselves and each other.